Today, we will talk about extreme ethical breaches in the art movement that prioritized rationality and order. Hello everyone! Today, we are continuing our discussion about neoclassicism with artist Jean Auguste Dominique Ingres. I have out another video on neoclassicism, which will give you a background on the movement. I will link it in the description if you find yourself wanting to fill in any gaps about where this art movement came from. Today will be a shorter video, one because of the content being heavier, and two, just because we don't really dive into this artist's background as much. Let's take a look at this painting by Jean Auguste Dominique Ingres titled The Source. Jean Auguste Dominique Ingres began this painting in 1820, but did not complete it until 1856. This depiction is meant to signify this woman as the source of a spring and is thought to draw connections between femininity and nature. In the original painting, this woman is actually shown nude, but I chose to cover her in this representation, and I will explain why just a bit later. If you're keeping track of the dates, this piece was completed almost a century after our overtly sensual Rococo paintings debuted. For that reason, it's unlikely that The Source would have ever been compared to a piece like The Swing, but I still think Ingres is probably saying, no, this is totally different from Rococo. I would never participate in such debauchery. Now, the reason I chose to cover this figure is because the model for this painting was 16 years old. This was a totally legal maneuver because the age of consent in France's 1856 was
11 years old.
However, it was still a common perception that the virtue of a young girl was traded for this old man's success. If I didn't mention, Ingres was like 76 when he completed this painting. It wasn't just Jean Auguste Dominique Ingres who was willing to trade her virtue either, as this quote from George Moore reminds us, "What care have I that the virtue of some 16-year-old maid was the price for Ingres's La Source? The model died of drink and disease in the hospital that is nothing when compared with the essential that I should have La Source, that exquisite dream of innocence." Thousands were willing to trade a 16-year-old's body just to see this painting, just to exist in the same world as this painting. And personally, I am unwilling to profit off of the nudity of a 16-year-old, even well after her death, which is why I have covered her. Truly, I did not realize this painting had this backstory until I was already into my research, and I considered not discussing this painting at all. But I feel like it's important to challenge these artists and these art movements because we spend so much time idolizing it. These people, although talented, are not above reproach. And the subjects that they've used and thrown away should not be forgotten. If we have this woman's name, I couldn't find it. But I hope that you will join me in honoring her instead of objectifying her. On a lighter note, I'm going to be totally honest with you, because I want this to be a dialogue and not a lecture. I have been through multiple classes that walk through each era of the Western canon, and in every single one, I have totally zoned out during neoclassicism. So if you feel like you have something more to add to any of these videos that I put together, but especially this series, please leave a comment, point me in the right direction, and you can become part of this discussion. Thank you all for watching.